Day 5 of our VLOGMAS series. We are doing a step-by-step Canadian permanent residence process through express entry for federal skilled workers. Basically, how to apply for permanent residency if you have some experience working in your country. So on day 1, we talked about how to check for eligibility. On day 2, we talked about taking a language test. Day 3, we talked about the education credential assessment. Day 4, we talked about how to create an express entry profile. And today, on day 5, we're going to be talking about waiting. So let me tell you the truth, like one of the most painful things that like painful stages of this process is the waiting part. Like the parts where you're getting your LTS, the parts where you're getting your assessment, like all those things, they're very trivial to the part. Like the parts where you actually are collecting your documents are very few than the parts where you're waiting. Most of the time in this process is going to be spent while waiting. You're always waiting for something to happen. So express entry draws, they take place approximately every 2 weeks. That did change with COVID, but they're still trying to maintain. Like let's see here. Express entry draws. Let's see how frequent they've been. Like let's talk about the history. Let's see how so these are the ones that have been happening of recent. The last one was October 26. Right now it's November 20. Yeah, so I'm filming this ahead of time because I want to get this part out there as fast as possible, so that we can be consistent. So it's almost a month and IRCC has not conducted a draw, but that's also attributed to the number of draws that they conducted here. So you can see in a space of 3 days they conducted 3 draws. So they did the health occupations, they did the French language proficiency, they did the PNP, and then they did the no program specified. So because of the categories that we spoke about before, like if you're in healthcare, like you see the scores, like it doesn't matter if you have so many scores, like you have 580 scores, as long as you're not in healthcare, you're not going to get for this round. And it doesn't matter if you have 500 scores, as long as you are not proficient in French, in this draw you won't get. So it depends with the draw. The one that I usually like open to everyone are called no program specified. So the last SRS score was 500 for those. So there are many categories, but this is how it's been for the past 3 months. For the past 3 months, they have done quite a number of draws, and also no program specified, because not everybody is in healthcare, but not everybody knows how to do French, not everybody's going to be nominated by a province. So yeah, draws are always ongoing because they have a target. Like they have a lot of target. Canada needs you, like immigrant targets. Canada 2023. You see, the government has steadily increased its immigration targets in recent years to boost the workforce and support an aging population. They want you to come here and work and procreate, generally speaking. That's why they want people who are still in their 20s, maybe 30s, because of course you're going to come here and make babies. And once you have a baby here, the baby automatically becomes Canadian. So the plan is to grant 565,000 people in 2023 with permanent residence, and 500,000 by 2025. So you can see there is still time. You can start now and be part of this huge number. It's not like, oh my gosh, I don't fit in. There are literally many categories here. Find one that works for you. Are you in agriculture? There is one for you. Are you in transport? There's always. Are you in healthcare? Like all those people, like especially people who have been doing their COS to go to the UK. Let's say you've done that, you've gone to the UK. Think about the next step. Once you start getting those like you've worked in the UK for 1 year, 2 years, like you need 5 years or 7 years to even like start being a permanent resident of UK. In Canada, it doesn't take that long. Like literally you can be a permanent resident without ever without stepping into the country. So think about it. These healthcare occupation draws, they only need 6 months. If you did your attachment of nurse aid, instead of going to the UK, you literally can come to Canada through express entry. That's how much it can work. Anywho, that's like how the draws work. So now I want to talk about like what to do while you're in the pool, right? So in the last video, I showed you how to get into the express entry pool. So let's say now you're in the pool. What do you do? So waiting. There's nothing to do but wait. But if you're like a clever person, this is the time to start assembling all your documents, because you know, like for example, if your score is high, you already know in the next draw, in the next 2 draws, in the next 5 draws, you're going to get your invitation to apply. So once you get your invitation, you have 60 days, and 60 days goes by so fast. Do you hear me? Like it goes so fast. So you want to have everything ready. Like for example, you already have your language test results, and you know you need to ensure that they are valid, like for the next 6 months or something. They need to be valid by the time you submit the application. Then if they expire, then that's its own issue. But while you haven't submitted your documents, they need. So if you're to get tested again, there's something you need to think about, you know. The other things that don't expire are police certificates. Like, you know, your certificates, like for example, if you've lived, for every country you've lived for at least 6 months, you need a police certificate. Let's say you've lived in South Africa, or you've lived in the US, and you already left. You're not going to enter there again. It's better to start assembling those police clearances earlier, so that you know you don't have to rush around doing it in 60 days. Some of these things take time, so you want to do that while there's still time. So yeah, you might also want, because you know when you create your profile, you get access to Canada Job Bank. You might also want to start looking for jobs, because that also boosts, if you do get a job, it boosts your points. While you're in the pool, you can also try to improve your scores by getting that job offer, by contacting provinces and territories to consider you for a provincial nomination. I'm going to circle back to the provincial nomination program, because that one is very interesting to me. You can also improve your language score if you want. You can go for that, you know, postgraduate diploma 1 year and give you a boost of points, you know. So that's what you want to do. Another thing that you need to do is to keep your profile up to date. Like it should be up to date at all times. If you start a new career, you need to update it. If you lose your job, like let's say you say that you have an ongoing job and you lose it, then you have to update that. If you if what I mean is, like, if you had a job offer to come to Canada and you lost that or you gained that, then you have to, update it. If you get new language tests, like let's say your test was expiring and you need to get a new one, and you got it, then you have to update that. If you get married, you need to update that. Or if you get divorced, because life happens, yeah, you need to update that. If you have a child or adopt a child, or yeah. So what happens is, if you don't give truthful information, like your application might be denied. Like let's say you say, okay, I'm getting married, but I don't want to tell them right now because I already started my process. I can always sponsor a letter. But then if they find out that you're actually married and you never declared that, then they will refuse your application and bar you from applying for 5 years. So think about that. Anywho, the one that I really want to talk about is, while you're waiting, you can get into the provincial nominee program. Yeah. So this is how it works. All this, like I said, you find all this information on canada.ca. Please find yourself to be intimate with this website, because it really is your friend if you want to come to Canada. The provincial nominee program is for, the eligibility is the same, like for people who have skills, education, and work experience to contribute to the economy of a specific province. So if you want to live in that province and want to become a permanent resident of Canada, that's how you can get a nominee. So there are different ways. There is non-express entry provincial nominee, and there's express entry provincial nominee. So it all depends, to be honest, with the province. For example, let's go to Alberta, because I rep Alberta. So with Alberta, there are different streams. There's Alberta Opportunity Stream, there's Alberta Express Entry Stream, there's Graduate Entrepreneurship Stream. So let's say, for example, this Alberta Express Entry Stream. I know somebody who recently got the provincial nomination of Alberta because they had a sibling in Alberta and they were in the same, like, they were in the occupation in demand in Alberta. So basically, Alberta sent them a notification of interest to their profile and say that they were interested in them becoming a resident of Alberta, and that if they were interested as well, they just needed to fill in an application. So yeah. So candidates may receive a notification of interest if they have experience in an in-demand occupation and an immediate family connection in Alberta. So if your parents, your siblings, your grandparents, your aunties, I don't know about child, but like if your child is over 18, they can also, yeah. So if you have a job offer from Alberta employer in the healthcare system, you can also apply for permanent residence. If you have a job offer in tech, you can do that as well. And if you if you have experience to support labor needs in agriculture, construction, tourism, and hospitality, that's it. You can do that. So once you're nominated, so usually it's not something, they say that you can ask to be nominated, but usually it's something that happens automatically. So the nomination just comes into your profile automatically if you meet those requirements. So once you're so here's how to apply. Like if you get nominated for PNP, you can yeah, so this is the website of our better whatever, so you can always get into that. You will email the copy of the letter, like you receive a letter, so you that talks about our better having an interest in you, so you need to email the copy of that letter to this email address, alberta express entry at gov.ab.ca, within 2 weeks, and provide your express entry number. So you need to already be in the pool. You can't just want a nomination when you're not in the pool, because yeah, everything gets centralized back into the pool. So then you provide the email address you'll be using for future correspondence, and then you, after that, they will reply you, and then they will tell you how to apply. When you apply, they'll take some like 2 months, 3 months assessing your application, and then after that, they'll give you a nomination letter. Once you're nominated, you will have an extra of 500 points. So let's say you had 300 points at the beginning, then you get nominated, you get 500 points, which means that your chances of being invited to apply, they increase dramatically. Exactly. So once you accept your nomination, they say that you have 30 days to accept your nomination, and then you must accept your nomination in the FODRAW portal to be eligible to apply for permanent residence under the stream. And your provincial nomination does not mean that you will receive permanent residence. That's just disclaimers. You know how it is. Your nomination certificate will be sent to you by email, and then you receive your invitation to apply in the normal way, and then you have 60 days to apply. So this is something that you have to think about. Like, there's so many ways to immigrate. Like, it's not a linear job. For some of us, it was linear. It wasn't linear. What am I even saying? I started applying in 2020. I moved here in 2023. The road was bumpy, but I mean, for some people, it's just straight. For some people, they have to go through detours. Like, you can go through PNP if your scores are lower and you see no chance in applying. You see that there's like, the more you wait in the pool, you're going to lose points through either age or whatever. By the way, your express entry profile expires every year, so you have to create a new one. So provincial nominations help you like secure that feature. You do have to pay $500 Canadian dollars to have that, to apply for your nomination, but small price to pay. Anywho, so this is what you can do while you're waiting. So without further ado, I think I'm going to stop this video about waiting here. We've talked about gathering documents, and we've also talked about getting your PNP. So guys, don't forget to subscribe and comment and tell me if you're enjoying this style of vlog and if it's helpful, and also let me know what you think, if you think this process is worth it, and if you're also thinking about it further, and if you have more questions, like, you can always reach out to me either in the comment section or on my Instagram, same username. And until next time, see ya.